Hello everyone, this is Learn the Lingo. My name is Matthew, and welcome to the last video in our Hebrew Phonics series where we are learning how to read Hebrew. This is the third review video in this series. We've been doing review videos every 5 lessons, and today we are going to do a review of lessons 11 through 15. These are the 8 letters we've learned in these last 5 lessons, starting with the letter Samik, which makes the S sound, Ain, which is silent, and Pe, which makes 2 sounds, which we'll see in just a little bit, Tsari, which makes the Ts sound, Kuf, which makes the K sound, Resh, which makes the R sound, Shin, which also makes 2 sounds, and Tav, which says T. The letter Pe is like the letters Beit and Kaf in that it changes sound when you put a dagesh in the middle of it. When a Pe has a dagesh, it makes the P sound, and when it has no dagesh, it makes the F sound. The letter Shin, or Sin, works a little bit differently. You put a dot either on the top right or the top left to make it a certain letter. When it has a dot on the top right, it is a Shin and says Sh. And when it has a dot on the top left, it is a Sin and says S. Now, Shin and Sin do not only sound different, but they are different letters. So when we have a Pe with or without dagesh, they are still the same letter, and sometimes a Pe in a word can be spelled with or out dagesh without changing the meaning of the word, but the letters Shin and Sin cannot do that. They cannot be interchanged. The letters Pe and Sari have what are called final forms, which is how they look at the end of a word. These letters still have the same sound and are the same letter, but this is just how they look at the end of a word. The vowel markers we've learned are the Segul Shva, which is a shortened E vowel, the Kamat Shva, which is a shortened O vowel, and the Kubutz, which is an U vowel that does not use the letter Vav. The letters Gimel, Zayin, and Sadi can take an apostrophe in modern Hebrew to change their sounds to make sounds that are in words that Hebrew has borrowed from other languages. Gimel with apostrophe says J, Zayin with apostrophe says J, which is like a French J, and Sadi with apostrophe says Ch. The Zayin and Sadi with apostrophe are pretty rare, but the Gimel with apostrophe is pretty common in modern Hebrew. And finally, over the past 5 lessons, we've seen a few strange spellings. One of these is the suffix eha, which has a segol being represented with a yud, and a kamat's ah sound being at the end of the word without a silent hey coming after it. Another strange spelling is the ending of, which is spelled with a yud that is not pronounced. We also have the cholam chaser being represented with a silent hey at the end of a word, making its o sound, as well as sometimes a tsere, making its a sound with a silent hey at the end of a word. So that's everything we've learned in the past 5 lessons. What we're going to do now is put a Hebrew word on the screen, and we are going to sound it out together. If you want, you can pause the video to try to sound it out yourself before we do it together. We'll start with the Hebrew word for together. This word starts with a lamed, which makes the l sound. Under the lamed is a segol, which says eh. Next is an aleph, which is silent. Under the aleph is a segol shva, which makes a shortened eh sound. Next is a letter samik, which says s. And after that is a vav with a cholam, which say o. And finally we have a final pe without dagesh, which says f. Le'esof. Le'esof, together. Next up is the Hebrew word for ship or boat. This word starts with a silent aleph. Under the aleph is a kamat shva, which makes a shortened o sound. Next is a letter nun, which says n, and under the nun is a hirik, which says e. It might look like this yud that comes after the nun is representing the hirik's e sound, but we know that is not the case because a kamat is under this yud. If a vowel marker is under a yud, that yud cannot be representing a vowel sound. That means this yud is making its own y consonant sound, and the kamatz under it says ah. The word ends with a silent hey, representing the ah sound ending the word. Oniya. Oniya means ship. The Hebrew word to run starts with a letter lamed, which says l, and under the lamed is a kamatz, ah. Next is a letter resh, which makes the r sound, and under that resh is a kubutz, which is the u vowel sound without vav. This word ends with a final tsadi, which makes the ts sound. La roots, to run. I will point out that usually this word makes its u sound with a vav with shuruk instead of a kubutz. Usually the u sound in Hebrew is written with a vav instead of a kubutz. The Hebrew word for sack or sackcloth starts with a letter sin, with a dot on the top left. Sin makes the s sound. Under the sin is a patak, which says ah, and this word ends with a letter kuf, which makes the k sound. Sak, sack. The Hebrew version of the name Solomon starts with a letter shin, with a dot on the top right. That letter shin makes the sh sound. Under the shin is a shva, which ends a syllable. So this syllable is just sh. After the shin, we have a letter lamed, which says l, and on the lamed is a cholam haser, which makes the o sound. Next is a letter mem, which says another cholam haser, o, and a silent hey at the end of the word, showing that the word ends in a vowel sound, in this case, an o vowel. Shlomo. Shlomo is Solomon in Hebrew. This is the word for now in modern Hebrew. It starts with an ayin, which is silent. Under the ayin is a patak, which says ah, and after the ayin is a kaf without dagesh, which makes a guttural ch sound. Under the kaf is a shva, which means this syllable is over. Ach. Next comes a letter shin with a dot on the top right, which says sh. And next comes a kamatz, yud, and vav. These together, remember, say av, ignoring the yud in the pronunciation. We just have the kamatz, ah, and the vav's v sound. Akshav, akshav, now. This is the Hebrew word for wounded. It starts with a letter peh with dagesh, which say p, and under the peh is a kamatz, which says ah. Next is a letter tsadi, which makes the ts sound. After that is a vav with shuruk, which say u. And finally we have a silent ayin with a patak under it at the end of the word. The patak makes the ah sound. Patsua. Patsua means wounded. The Hebrew word for cheetah also has a tsadi, but this tsadi has an apostrophe. The apostrophe changes the sound of tsadi into a ch sound. Under the tsadi, we have a hirik, which says e, and this hirik is represented with a yud. Next comes the letter tet, which makes the t sound. Under that is a kamatz, and the word ends with a silent hey, which tells you that the word ends in a vowel sound. Cheetah, cheetah, cheetah. The Hebrew word for genre has a zayin with apostrophe. This makes the j sound. Under the zayin, we have a kamatz, which says ah, and then we have an aleph with no vowel marker on it, which means it has no effect on the pronunciation of this word. Next is a letter nun, which makes the n sound. Under that is a sigul, which says eh, and finally we have a resh at the end of the word, which says ra. Janer. Janer means genre. The Hebrew word for pajamas has a gimel with apostrophe. This word starts with a letter peh, which has a dagesh, which means it makes the p sound. Under the peh is a hirik, which is represented with a yud, which make the e sound. After that comes the gimel with apostrophe, which says j. Under that is a kamatz, which says ah, a letter mem, which says under the mem is a kamatz, which says ah, and the word ends with a silent hey to show that the word ends with a vowel sound. Pijama, pijama, pajamas. And now the last word of this series, which is thank you. This word starts with the last letter of the alphabet, which is tav, which says t. After that is a vav, which has a cholam. They say o. Next comes the letter dalet. It's been a while since we've seen this letter, but it makes the d sound. Under that is a kamatz, which says ah, and this word ends with a silent hey to show that the word ends with a vowel sound. Toda. Toda. Thank you. I want to tell you all, Toda, thank you for joining me on this Hebrew Phonics series. I hope you have enjoyed it and that you have learned a lot. If you have any questions or any ideas for what kind of videos you would like to see next on this channel, be sure to comment them below and I will be sure to answer them. Right now, I'm working on some videos where we are going to keep practicing these phonics, and also I'm planning some vocabulary and grammar videos. If you would like to see those, be sure to give this video a like and subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss any videos I make. And once again, Toda, thank you, and I'll see you next time.